Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Welcome along to one of the key financial centres of the world for round 15 of the AOR F1 Championship, the Singapore Grand Prix, in a race that is dubbed the Singapore Showdown, where Tyrrell Schnitzel has a second opportunity to win his second championship in the top tier of PS4 on AOR. This is the site of the first night race back in 2008, and we've had plenty of thrilling action at this particular circuit in the real sport in the past, but this is also known as one of the most physically demanding races on the Candorici, with the high humidity and long lap time playing a factor in making critical mistakes happen during a race for even the best drivers. I am Mark Alimonda, bringing you once again all of the action for another brilliant round of AOR action. Let's take a quick look at this 5.6 kilometer circuit. Very tight through sectors 2 and 3. The main opportunities will be on the start finish straight and down the Raffles Boulevard, which is the 2 DRS zones, because more or less after the end of sector 1 it is sink or fall, unless you make a really brave move, particularly down in the hairpin at turn 13, or perhaps even a half move down at turn 14 at the end of that fairly long back straight. It is a 31 lap race once again as Singapore, with 18-minute qualifying session once again. And in terms of the championship situation, we will discuss that shortly, but it is the usual Pirelli rubber available. The middle range, or the highest range I should say. The softs won't be a particularly good qualifying tyre, as they tend to overheat, so expect to see heavy use of the medium and hard compounds. Perhaps maybe a little spot of rain. But going into this situation, it is a chance for TRL Snitzel to become a double champion, with a now 162 point gap at the 163 I should say, after Speed Barry's brilliant victory last week at Italy. But he only requires to score less than 7 points in Speed Barry here today to be the champion. Casper in third, Safe Frosty in fourth, Jim Roy in fifth, with Dan Energy tactician Jim Perez, with Blizzard and Lee Finley making up the top 10. You would have noticed Michael's now dropped off the standings because his points have been removed. And in terms of the Constructors' Championship, well, that will not be settled today, but Mercedes have a very comfortable lead now at the top from Williams, with Toro Rosso now breathing down their necks, with Alfa Romeo kind of fading in the battle for third just a little bit. McLaren back into the top 5 of the Constructors' standings, with Red Bull in 6th and Renault in 7th, and Racing Point have moved off the wooden spoon position for the time being in 8th position, which is one of the higher positions they've been for some time, with Ferrari dropping down to 9th. Pass, well, they'll be desperate for some points today via Nicholas Matteo to get them back into the reckoning. So let's get some brief news out of the way. Well, unfortunately, due to some Discord issues, we are unable to get Andy in the commentary booth, so it is just me for this grueling race, but in some respects he has dodged a bullet, avoiding the longest race of the season. And in some ways I'm hoping it's not a wet race, otherwise we may be here until midnight this track, although I of course don't mind as long as the racing action is good. So straight into the qualifying action we shall go. And it is LR2 just making his way on his outlap. I mean, look how splendid this Ferrari looks under the night lights. It is just an absolutely, visually, it is a visually appealing track for motorsport enthusiasts. Seeing these cars shining as they are right now, especially this Ferrari, really gets the pulse going. Now, heading through over the Anderson Bridge and into the hairpin. And there it is. For some reason, oh, this is interesting. Oh, there you go. I wasn't able to change camera there for a second. I was pressing it and nothing was happening, so that was strange. So we have 15 drivers out there today. Now, who are we going to go for an out? Well, I think we should do with the champion-elect. It is TRL Snitzel. He's on the hard tyres, so let's go for a lap of this Singapore Grand Prix circuit. A splendid track it is. There are 23 corners on this particular one. Now he goes as wide as he can to get the best possible entry into the opening corner, and then into turns 2 and 3. Very tight apex on turn 3, and then it's more of a kink into 4th, and then onto turn 5, the entrance to Raffles Boulevard, which will be the main overtaking opportunity during the course of the evening. DRS wing flies open and then gets the car slowed down for the end of sector 1 into turn 7. Nickel Highway, and then into turn 8. Nice smooth entry and exit there, as you'd expect. And then he goes through turn 9 of Stamford Road. Essentially, we're in the downtown section of Singapore, and this basically carves right through it. And one of my esteemed commentary friends. Ginger Andy has actually been to this this track and says it is a spectacular race. So down to over the Anderson Bridge, turn 12, then turn 13 for the tight hairpin, where you may see a couple of dive bombs during the course race if there's especially some desperate moves on lap 1. The end of sector 2, then turn 14. Some say there should be a DRS between turn 13 and 14, but we haven't seen one put in there yet. And then through the very tricky complex of 15, 16 and 17, very easy to get a corner cut penalty there. And then, well, turn 18, you have to get your braking right there, because if you don't, there is a nice crash barrier right there to chip your wing off, or maybe a little bit more. Through 19, 20, 21, an excellent sequence of corners, very technical, all about car control and throttle modulation. Through the final sweeping corner, 22, 23, and across the line. It looks like Tyrrell Snitzel has invalidated, but I'm sure he's going to do several laps on that. But that is a lap of the Marina Bay circuit here at Singapore. And Zavaro Asnart making his return to the grid. Much timely for Williams, 1:36.955. So let's have a look at the tyres. It's hard tyres so far. Anyone setting times on the softs will not be doing so seriously, just to get themselves a feel of the track, but they'll be backing off before they finish the lap, because as it has been the case since they really brought in these tyre temperatures, the carcass and surface, the soft tyres have been really poor, as tip speed bar race, except for 1:36.281 on those hard tyres. Let's see who else is out there. Danny MG has a bit of traffic. Oof. I think they're both getting out of the way of that Alfa Romeo, which is Tactician. Or is it? Yes, it was Tactician. That was at the end of Raffles Boulevard just then. As Blizzard goes in grip, well, 1:34.613 on the softs. Well, interesting. Blizzard is going on the softs. Now, in terms of the qualifying time, we're expecting something in the region of the of a high 33s on the mediums, so I think that may not be a serious time from Blizzard. But I tell you what, if he invalidates his flying lap on the mediums and ends up in the top 10, he is going to be in for a world of hurt, ladies and gentlemen. So he'll be hoping that he doesn't mess that up. Tyrrell Snitzel carries on. Let's get the telemetry up. He doesn't seem to be low on fuel, so I think he may have fueled for several runs. No, I think he's going to back off here, maybe go for another. Yellow's in sector 2, but I think that's just Tyrrell Snitzel slowing down. Now, who else is out there? Daniel Alves is back in the pits. And what about Jim Nardi-Perez? Jim Nardi-Perez is on an hour lap at the moment, so we may keep an eye on him. Let's just see what Tyrrell Snitzel is doing for the time being. Through the opening section corners he goes again. It's another hot lap, but if Andy is watching, I hope you're enjoying your Jack Daniels whiskey. A well-earned break given all the races you've had. I personally, though, I'm aiming to do every single race, a full 21 race season, just as Crofty and Martin Brundle would try to do, because that would personally, for me, be the most races I've ever done in a row, week to week. Although obviously we've had breaks from time to time. And incidentally, because it's round 15, this is a 15 round so far. This is actually the longest season I've done consecutively. That's for commentary. So it's certainly a new experience, but a very good one. Tyrrell Snitzel goes across the Anderson Bridge. Very easy to outbrake yourself into turn 13 of the hairpin. So they'll be very much hoping you won't be doing that. Now let's have a look at Jim Nardi-Perez, because he's out there at the moment. He's on a flying lap into the end of the Raffles Boulevard. Runs a bit. Ooh, I think he just kept that in the track limits. I think he would have been okay just with that. Turn 7, very awkward corner, turn 7. Not a big fan of it. So you can easily understeer there. Now, it seems to be this section of the track I can't change camera view for some reason, which is a bit bizarre. Don't know if it's some sort of copyright, or maybe they just don't have a working camera for that section. Yeah, that it's weird. It seems to lock it just for that section. That is absolutely bizarre. A warm welcome to those who've joined the chat already, and I see some familiar names there, likes of Jess, who did a great job on the Oceania commentary earlier in the day. I mean, would you believe it? It was 9 AM in the morning, that was, so must have been up bright and early for that. And the Buster Nick here for some last-minute tips before his first race in AOR in an hour, so a newcomer compared to some of the veterans on the grid here. So better luck to anyone who's making their debut in AOR tonight. I hope you have a great race, no matter what the result. It's all about having fun. As Jim Nardi-Perez goes a decent P4. But Tyrrell Snitzel goes P2 on the hards, slightly quicker than Speedbar. We will go through the permutations for the championship being decided this evening. Now, compared to Monza, there's actually far less permutations, so I'm not going to bore you quite as much as we did last week with all the different position changes. I mean, last week Speedbar did a fantastic job denying Tyrrell Snitzel an unbelievably early championship win. We did see New Zealand Ryan winning the Oceania Championship in Xbox at this very track. So Tyrrell Snitzel is trying to match that tonight to win the championship with 6 rounds to go, which would be, frankly, unbelievable. Now, Speedbar is in the pits at the moment. The team look like they've just fitted the medium tyres, so we will keep an eye on what he does. Daniel Alves is out there for an Alamo. What's he got fitted? He's got hards fitted, so I think he's going for another run. So we'll keep on board with not many people fitting the mediums. I think they're trying to wait as long as possible, and there'll be slightly nervous expressions at Renault, because the thing is, if it is very easy to invalidate here. There are several areas where you can pick up time penalties, particularly turn 1, very easy to cut that. All run wide in turn 2, you can get invalidation there. So if enough people were to invalidate, then Blizzard, yeah, he'll have the best tyres, but they will overheat pretty much instantly within a couple of laps, and he'll be, well, dropping like a lead balloon down the field. Now, in terms of the tyre strategy, well, the one thing we need to bear in mind is how slow the hard tyres are. They will last an entire race, but the hards compared to the mediums are very slow. The softs are 0.8 seconds faster than the mediums, but incidentally, the difference between the mediums and the hards is over 1.4 seconds, so or 1.6 seconds, I should say. So the alternative strategy, if you can make it work, can be extremely powerful here, as we saw Warden did in Oceania earlier today. And I have seen it in 2018 and 2017 games as well. If you can stay out of trouble and have a really good first stint on those hards, go deep into the race, the medium tyre or the middle range tyre can be extremely potent in the closing stages. And because it's not a particularly good tyre in terms of traction, you're pretty much, you have little to defend with, as Daniel Alves crosses the line and goes P11. Tactician still out there. Nicholas Matteo is on a flying lap. Now Lee Finley, currently P14, and Danny MG actually goes P3. So a very good lap from him. And Tyrrell Snitzel is still out there. So in terms of the top 10, it will be the mediums. That will be the dominant tyre in the top 10. But outside the top 10, you may as well start on the hards and see where you can go, because you will have the best tyres easily in the final, say, 10-11 laps of the race. So Tyrrell Snitzel's done a lot of running on those hards, so really getting himself warmed up. As Blizzard goes quick again, and it's on the softs again. Another set of softs, so 34.27. So Blizzard is going for something interesting here. Is he thinking about a 2-stop strategy? Well, the pit loss time here is incredibly long. I mean, there's not many tracks where you lose more time in the pits than Singapore. Silverstone, obviously, being the longest, because you lose the best part of 40 seconds there at Silverstone in terms of the time being in the pit lane. Singapore, it's somewhere between 28 to 32 seconds, depending on your pit entry and pit exit. As Blizzard gets nicely out of the way. Now, a few drivers now beginning to fit their tyres. Nicholas Matteo is heading towards the end of the lap. Is he going to pull back into the pit? Yeah, he has abandoned his run. Anyone else at the moment? Casper is out there. He's on the hards. He's running low on fuel, so he is done with that particular stint. Rasnol's back in the pits. Tyrrell Snitzel running low on fuel. A very nice bit of testing there. And we've got some familiar names in the chat. I see the season 16 champion Michael lurking, getting a view. Of course, the Chinese Grand Prix winner from earlier this season, who is doing a tremendous job in the esports draft and PC on AOR at the moment. So best of luck to him for the rest of those particular campaigns. We may well see Michael in the official esports series next year, perhaps. So not much activity at the moment. It's a long out lap here, so really if you're out on the lap now, then it's unlikely you're going to be able to get out for another run. So Jim Nardi Perez He's got to get a bit of a move on, otherwise he's going to be struggling a bit. Now Jim Roy, he's currently in the pits, just coming out now. We're beginning to see some medium runners coming out of the pit lane for Alice. Jim Roy won this race back in season 16. It was Michael who got pole position, and Tyrrell Snitzel got the fastest lap. So, you know, it just shows you the last few seasons, these certain names have been significant in their presence in this top tier. Now, Jim Roy, he had a fairly difficult start to the season, missed some races, but you know, he's come on fairly strong since then. Getting a couple of podiums at Hungary and Belgium. Currently 5th in the standings. Now LR2 is about to start a lap, so let's have a look then. Let's have a look at the Ferrari driver as he flies round the final corner. Car number 13. Will this be a lucky lap for LR2, who missed the last couple of races with a real life back injury, but he's back on the grid, so I'm hoping he is back very healthy once again. Onto Raffles Boulevard he goes. We haven't had any indication what the weather's going to be for this race. I'm going to try and find out. Looks like a decent lap from LR2 so far. Ooh, gets a little bit close to the wall on the left-hand side, but nothing to worry about. I'm sure there'll be some sweating going on the Ferrari pit board. It doesn't want to get too close to the barrier like that. Now, LR2 will be one of the first drivers to set time. Currently P11, a 1:36.806, which was on the hard sire. Looks like he's going significantly faster than that already. Through the hairpin he goes. Nice tight apex to that. Would have almost optimum time on the power out of that. Yellow's in sector 2. But Yellows you can largely ignore this in qualifying, of course, because most of the time it will be slower drivers getting out of the way of those in fast laps. So don't often see crashes in qualifying, although this being a street circuit, that is one of the ones we can see them in. So we saw a couple of those in qualifying. So LR2 through the back end of sector 3. Nice smooth exit out of turn 21 and 22. What's it going to be for LR2? Will he be able to get into the top 10 with this? Across the line he goes, and it's P2, a 35 flat. I'm sure there'll be some people going quicker than that in time. Speed Barry is out there on a flying lap. Tyrrell Snitzel is as well. We're now into back end, so it looks like Speed Barry is just up ahead of Tyrrell Snitzel. Now, who else is near the end of their lap? Say Frosty's just begun his lap. Jim Roy. Yeah, Jim Roy's ahead of all these, so we'll stick with Jim Roy for the time being. And Alex, one of our AOR veterans who's had more races than anyone else on the grid, decided that Singapore was not his scene for tonight, so he is a spectator from his mansion in Buckinghamshire, enjoying all the action here from Singapore this evening. Jim Roy then, through sector 3. Ooh, that looked like a slight cut. He might have invalidated. We'll find out in a few moments. Oh yes, and it is of course Alex's birthday. I believe it was today or yesterday, so happy birthday to him, one of the admins. And across the line goes Jim Roy, looked like an invalidation, so we'll go straight to Speed Barry. Speed Barry then, heading through sector 3. He knows he's got to at least try and get ahead of Snitzel in qualifying to try and, you know, put as much pressure on the reigning champion as possible, because his task is even more difficult to deny Snitzel the title, as we will discuss shortly. Speed Barry goes across the line. Oh, has he invalidated? I think he may well have done. May have to go for another run. Here comes Tyrrell Snitzel round the corner, and he's going again. So seems to be struggling a little bit to get inside. The invalidation's creeping in here, which is quite interesting. Stay Frosty heading towards the line. There's a Williams ahead. That's Avara Asnar on an out lap, so he's about to complete another lap. 10 seconds of the session to go, and it's P2 for Stay Frosty. That's the fastest medium time, a 35 flat, just ahead of LR2. So it looks like Tyrrell Snitzel and Speed Barry are going again, but they're running low on fuel. They should have enough battery because there's so many braking zones here. Regaining battery isn't too difficult. Danny MG retires from the session with a 34.6. Tactician with a 34.8. So that's faster than what we were expecting. That's only 4 tenths behind Blizzard's soft time. What is Blizzard doing? Blizzard's on the softs again. Maybe he can get into the 33s. So Blizzard is going very much a different kind of grain to the rest of the field, so I'm fascinated to see how that works out. But it's a Renault 1-2 at the moment. AOR Asnar retires from the session. Maybe invalidating, had some sort of incident. He's going to only be P11 at best. Casper in Sector 2. Speed Barry. Now, he knows Tyrrell Snitzel isn't far behind him. Save Frosty retires from the session in P4. Jim Roy retires from the session, and that is P15. A bad session for the Renault driver who won here last time we had this race. Here comes Speed Barry then, P2 in the championship. The only driver who can deny Snitzel the championship. What's it going to be? It's going to be P2. What about Snitzel? Snitzel's just behind him. Can he beat Speed Barry for P2? And oh my goodness, he's actually done it. A 34.2, but here's Blizzard, who doesn't improve. Tyrrell Snitzel has surely taken pole position on the mediums with a 34.2. Unbelievable. That's 6/10 faster than the estimate that we had before this session. But Tyrrell Snitzel, well, he means business today. He wants to win this championship. Wow, what a lap from Tyrrell Snitzel. Well, that is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, look at that. Tyrrell Snitzel takes pole position, not by a lot, just over half a tenth. But look at that. Blizzard was on the softs and he still couldn't beat Snitzel's time. I mean, that is one of the best laps Snitzel has done this season. That is a Hamilton 2018 style lap. Speedbar in third, Casper in fourth, Danny MG in fifth, Tactician in sixth, Jim Nardi Perez in seventh, Save Frosty in eighth, LR2 in ninth, Lee Finley in 10th. Less than a second covering the top 10. Nicholas Mateo, Hugh Golf, Daniel Alves, AOR Asnar, and Williams Jim Roy making up the rest of the grid. So just going to get some nice footage from the historic demonstration. Jensen Buttons Brawn from 2009. Yeah, I mean, that lap from Snitzel, that is staggering to me. Staggering what he just did there. And that, I mean, that gives Snitzel all the advantages. Now, Speedbar is going to have to go on the attack. Maybe try and get ahead of Blizzard with a better start. But that does make an interesting dynamic, ladies and gentlemen, because traditionally, the best tyre gives you better traction off the line. So if Blizzard can out-drag Snitzel to turn one and take the lead at least, that could make the opening laps at least very interesting. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. We're going to go through the very brief permutations of the title battle here this evening. And we're going to get ready for the formation lap. And what a beautiful car the Brawn was. And what a story it was 10 years ago in the 2009 F1 season. Rising from the Phoenix of the dead Honda team. And we're going to go straight to the formation lap. So then, in terms of the permutations, this is what they are. So, unlike in Monza last week, it is somewhat a role reversal. So Tyrrell Snitzel will be the champion if Speedbarry fails to outscore him by 8 points. Now, if Tyrrell Snitzel retires from the race somehow, which would be the first retirement of the season for him, Speedbarry would only need to take 6th to take the title battle to the Russian Grand Prix next week, the final AOR F1 PS4 race of 2019 and indeed the decade. And in terms of the points to play with, there's 182 points before the start of this race to play for, and 163 is the current gap between the top two. Now, if Speedbarry beats Tyrrell Snitzel for the race victory today, he also has to get the fast lap of the race if Snitzel finishes in second, because it's only 7 points between first and second in the points, which is not enough. So Speedbarry has to get 8 points more than Tyrrell Snitzel here this evening to win, or prevent, I should say, Tyrrell Snitzel from winning the championship tonight. But given that pole lap we saw, that could be a hammer blow morale-wise to the Toro Rosso driver. So then, let's get that off the screen. I'm sure everyone has given it a good read. But then the intriguing element is Blizzard. It's kind of come out of nowhere here, but obviously the soft tyres did help. Now, outside the top 10, let's have a look at their tyre choices. All hard tyres, as you would expect. And keep an eye on Jim Roy, because he has a habit of making this alternate strategy work. But Tyrrell Snitzel will surely be the most nervous man on the grid right now. But then again, given the results he's had this season, 14 races, he has not finished off the top 2 all season in 14 races, 10 of them being victories, 4 second places. I mean, he's had arguably the greatest campaign of anybody in the history of the PS4 Tier 1 on AOR. As the grid begins to line up for round 15. Just has a quick look at his mirrors, and you can feel the tension rising here. It's almost a staggered silence, not getting anywhere. We're going to look at the red lights as they begin to appear. Here they come, the red lights. 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And the Singapore Showdown begins. It's a decent start from Tyrrell Snitzel, but where is Blizzard? What kind of start did he get? Not a good start compared to Snitzel. Snitzel sweeps into the lead, maintaining his grid position with Blizzard just behind. And it's as you were in the top 4 by looks of it. Casper in P4 with Danny MG just behind. So let's get the screen up. So Casper in P4, Danny MG in P5. Can Blizzard put Tyrrell Snitzel under any pressure? But no, Tyrrell Snitzel gets a great run from Raffles Boulevard into Sector 1 for the first time. Any moves going on behind? Lee Finley looks like he's alongside LR2, or at least tried to be. Oh, a spinner! Save Frosty spinning round. Oh dear. And now he's dropped to P14, so a disastrous start for Save Frosty. And it looks like Jim Roy's already up to P13 from the back of the grid. And look at this, LR2 and Lee Finley side by side. And Lee Finley up to P7, R2 displaced down to 8. So quite a chaotic start here. As they go over the Anderson Bridge for the first time. Surely no one's going to be side by side at this particular corner. Gennady Perez getting kind of interested in the Ferrari just behind. Now up ahead, is there any other movements going on? Hugh Golf in P12 in the Racing Point. And look at that, Jim Roy right behind him. He's going to go for a late lunge at the inside. Yes, he is. Bangs wheels with the Racing Point, but that is an excellent first lap. From 15th to 12th. Jim Roy, so ultimate strategy wise, keep an eye out for him. He could be a real threat for the podium later on, but let's go straight back to the front because Tyrrell Snitzel is going to lead lap 1 from Blizzard and Speed Barrier. And don't forget, Blizzard is on those soft tyres, so they will be burning up very quickly. Now in terms of tyre wear, the softs, that's not actually the problem for the softs, it's actually keeping them in temperature because they overheat very easily. So it's not really the tyre wear that's the issue for any of the tyres here. They'll all go quite a long way into the race, but Blizzard will be struggling with temperatures, and that means he'll be forced to brake a little bit earlier, cool them down, and that is ultimately what slows you down. Now right behind that, Casper having a look at Speed Barrier, but look right behind him, Danny MG is getting slightly interested. Anything else going on behind? Daniel Alves, and whoa, look at that. Just behind, I think, side by side, Save Frosty trying to get ahead of our Asnot. We haven't had a Williams driver on the grid for a while, and unfortunately, like in real life, that Williams driver is at the back of the field at the moment, so that is not good news as they try and stop the bleeding in terms of the Constructors' battle, where they have lost so many points in recent times to Mercedes. I mean, at one time, they were nearly 100 points ahead in the Constructors' Championship when Michael and his other teammate, who have also left, Truesdale, that was it. I was just trying to get the name. Oh, I was mixed up between the two names. But so already falling back. So we'll get the winners and losers from the opening lap shortly. But at the moment, Blizzard doing a decent job. Half a second behind Tyrrell Snitzel with the DRS about to be activated. So Snitzel not exactly running away with this so far. But looking back at the start, it's quite a short distance, about just over 300 meters from the grid slot to turn 1. But look at that! What a final sector for Snitzel. He gained like half a second on Blizzard there, so he's now out of DRS range. So it's getting very tricky now for Speed Barrier. He's got to try and get ahead as soon as he can of Blizzard. But at the moment, Tyrrell Snitzel is doing everything perfectly. He doesn't want to just win the championship. He wants to win it in style with a victory. And at the moment, on lap 3, there's a long way to go here. It's looking good. No indication of any sort of chance of rain at the moment. It looks like it could be a full dry race here. And to answer the question, for Jess, the Constructors' Championship can't be decided here today, but Mercedes lead by over 100 points to Williams in second. And I think as it stands, Toro Rosso might actually go above them in the Constructors' Championship. And for some reason I'm hearing, I heard another voice just then. That was weird. I'm not sure what that was. think that might be being picked up from the drivers in the grid, maybe, but not really sure. But yeah, it just goes to show Blizzard. I think he did it for track position, but he is suffering badly. He's 2 seconds now behind it. I mean, it's incredible. First 1.5 laps, he had parity with Schnitzel, no doubt about it. But then at the end of the second lap, they died. It was like sayonara. The tyres wanted to retire and go have a nice relaxing drink in one of the many establishments in Singapore, because they are gone. 2.2 seconds. Speedbar and Casper, they are really, losing time being stuck behind this Renault. So Speedbar, he's got to now attack, try and get past this Renault, and then see what kind of pace he's got. Has he got the pace to chase after Schnitzel, or at least give him something to think about? Simnadi Perez picks up a time penalty, overtaking LR2 at turn 1, I suspect. Here comes Speedbar then. This could be an overtake. And yes, it's going to be comfortable as you like. And that is P2 for Speedbar. Speedbar doing all he can do. But at the moment, he needs to pass Schnitzel and get the fastest lap of the race to take the championship onto another day at Russia next week. But one of the elements that makes that unlikely for him to get a fast lap is because he's on the primary strategy. He'll be on the hards later on in the race, and those pitting later on will be on the mediums outside the top 10, which means that one of them is likely to get the fast lap when they get up to speed on those mediums. Look how much Blizzard is struggling now. And this is allowing Danny MG to keep tabs with Casper. Casper, of course, and Danny MG having multiple podiums this season. Blizzard has had a podium this season. A superb performance at the French Grand Prix, a race he nearly won, arguably the best fight for the lead all season. It was a three-way fight between Speedbar, Schnitzel and Blizzard that day, but Blizzard has never really had the consistency to live with the likes of Schnitzel and Speedbar on a regular basis. So I think we're about to see some action here for P3, unless Blizzard is going to peel off into the pit lane. Nope, he's going to carry on. A two-stop is definitely not the way to go here. You're not really going to get anywhere on a two-stop because the pit loss time is just too much. Now, what's going to happen here is an early pit stop, and that is Lee Findlay in the pit lane. I wonder if he's had some damage. I'll just quickly have a look at Lee Findlay and we'll go straight back to this battle. Is it damage for Lee Findlay? No, it's an early pit stop. Interesting. So not wing damage unless you've got to take it off. But here comes Casper closing in on Blizzard. It may have to be a late lunge to the inside. It's going to be a late lunge. Oh no, thought better of it. So actually Blizzard got a really good exit. It seems our Raffles Boulevard was able to maintain the place. So that's just going to lose him even more time being stuck behind that Renault. Oh Lord, watch out. Then MG having half a look. So in terms of the winners and losers so far, 4 places gained for Jim Roy, 3 gained for Daniel Alves, and the biggest loser Lee Findlay, although he did pit of course. I'm not sure why he pitted so early, to be honest. He must have got some damage. But we didn't see him replacing the wing. That's the interesting element of that. Look at that, 2.3 seconds now between Speedbar and Blizzard. That is how much time that has been lost in just over a lap or so. And Casper go for a move here. Down into turn 14. No, he can't. Not for the time being. So it is really... It's getting a bit critical now for Casper, because don't forget, the amount of time these guys are losing will hurt them later on when they're on the hard tyres, because the likes of Jim Roy, Hugh Golf, they'll be on the medium tyre later on when they do the second half of their race on the second stint. So Casper now right on the back of it. Blizzard is going to peel off into the pit lane, and that releases them, so that's going to be a battle through. So Blizzard then pits then from P3. And what's it going to be? Well, it could be mediums, perhaps. Maybe he'll go for mediums. Yeah, it's hard, so he's going to try and do a mega long stint, Sergio Perez style stint. So main battle on track now, it seems to be the battle for P7 with Nicolas Mateo, Alves, Jim Roy, Hugh Golf, Steve Frosty. As ever, the midfield action in AOR F1, very thrilling indeed. But Daniel Alves looks like he's getting a nice tight entry into turn 5, now chasing yellows in sector 1. Oh, looks like Blizzard had some sort of issue. Oh, Blizzard's had some sort of issue. Has he crashed into the pit wall? Well, guy finished. What's happened? His car seems to have stopped, and that could bring out safety car if he can't get that started again. What on earth's happened? Well, that is a real shame, but paying the price perhaps for that choice on tyres, but maybe he felt he didn't have the pace to qualify a tyre as he did on the mediums. But if Blizzard can't get that car going, then we could get a safety car. Well, I assume he hasn't done a Nelson Piquet Jr. in 2008 where he's trying to bring out a safety car on purpose to give Danny MG a chance. That would be controversial, but of course Flavio Briatore is not in charge of any of the esports teams, and certainly not any of the AOR F1 teams, so I doubt we're going to get any shenanigans like that here. So Danny MG has fallen out of DRS range, the gap between the top two, 3.6 seconds. So Jim Roy all over the back of Daniel Alves. Now in terms of those who start on the hards, looks like Jim Roy is the best runner at the moment. So Lee Finley and Blizzard, the only drivers who've made pit stops so far. It's now a 4-second gap now between Snitzel and Speedbury. Speedbury has similar pace to Snitzel, but because of all the time he lost behind Blizzard, it's just he's having to overdrive it a little bit just to try and keep in tabs. But it's almost two battles going on here. Nicholas Matteo is going to go down the inside, and right behind him Jim Roy is going to try and make game of place well. Double as they head into the following corner, and Nicholas Matteo around the outside of LR2 to complete the move, and Jim Roy up to 9th as well. So two well executed moves respectively from the Haas and Red Bull Racing drivers. They're a long way behind Jim Nardi Perez, but Nicholas Matteo, the highest running hard runner at the moment in P7, Jim Roy will be looking to get past that Ferrari as quickly as possible. Will there be any sort of lunge down at the hairpin at turn 13 after Anderson Bridge? Oh, and they got very close there. They all got it slowed down. No wing damage, but that concertina effect on that hairpin can be really dangerous sometimes. Often in league races you do see a bit of carbon fibre flying out the hairpin when someone misjudges their braking a little bit. Doesn't anticipate the car slowing down just a bit more. And Blizzard is out of the race. If a safety car comes out now, then clearly 10 years since Renault were found guilty, it could be Blizzard playing the Nelson Piquet Jr. role in a Renault, no less. Because this is F1 2019, so a safety car is about as rare as a dodo at this point. And pit stops then. Jim Nardi Perez. These medium tyres are not lasting long, are they? I mean, LR2, 6 laps they've done on that, or 7 I should say, but that is not lasting long at all. Very surprised by that. I thought they'd be going to at least lap 10, between lap 10 to 13 I would have expected, but maybe the tyre temps are really causing havoc among the grid here today. Now can Daniel Alves come back at the Red Bull? Looks like he may have half an opportunity. Nope, doesn't look like he does. Any other moves going on? This is the back of this train of our Asna in P11 at the moment. Just getting a nice helicopter view. We'll just stick on board with this a little bit. There's quite big gaps between the top 5. Looks like it's going to be dry for the entirety of the race, so anyone who's commentated a wet race in Singapore knows how much of a slog it is, let alone for the drivers. So Jim Roy. Nice shot through the Anderson Bridge. Got Dan Alves just behind him. New Golf in P9. Save Rossi in P10. This is the Matteo train at the moment. LR2. Now the problem is for the hard runners who have seemingly pitted quite early, is that they'll still in theory be lapping slower than these guys if they've looked after their tyres, because the hards are so much slower than mediums. Even like older mediums, the hards can be a little bit slower, so it may not work for them. They certainly will be suffering a lot of pain in terms of where they're in. Danny MG pits and speed bar. So these mediums are certainly, must be temperature or wearing out faster. I mean, they certainly lasted, the middle tyre certainly lasted longer than this in 2018, so there must be some sort of reason they're doing this. But this, to me, would give the advantage to the alternate strategy. So Speedbarry pits then, comes out in P9. Does anyone? Yeah, he should have plenty of space there. So here comes Jim Roy, the race winner here back in season 16, and it's going to be a simple everything. Oh, gets squeezed slightly by the Haas driver. Up to P4 goes Jim Roy. Gets to slow down. May have picked up a warning though. Went off track limits on the exits. That's not a good entry into that corner. That may give Nick Matteo a chance to come back at him. It would take an extremely brave move to go for something there, but no, not going to happen. Turn 10 for 11. Whoa! And a big slide at the back end from the Haas. And Alves having to take a slightly wider line because Nicholas Matteo braking there in front of him, so he had to make sure he didn't crash into the back of him. So yeah, so this tells me really that if they are pitting legitimately this early, then perhaps the mediums in terms of their performance wear off very quickly. Maybe it's not a temperature issue. So those who have pitted it, they'll be hoping that the hards go a lot quicker straight away. They do take a lap or two to get up into temperature. So could see a few more pit stops, but it looks like there's no one else out there on mediums at the moment except for the top three. So I think this is actually well, Jim Roy getting away. No battles going on at the moment. Ooh, Stay Frosty out of the race. Oh dear. 2 retirements then, 13 remaining. And I think our next battle coming up is going to be between Nicholas Matteo and Daniel Alves for P5. So Stay Frosty, the Silverstone race winner from this season, a disappointing race for him. He got sort of caught on lap 1, spun the car, and it's just been awful since then. So may have had another incident. So it could be a big opportunity for those who don't get big points normally to have a hat for them. Street circuits do tend to catch out people from time to time. Not quite as brutal as Baku or Monaco, but Singapore is still a tremendous challenge, particularly for the wheel users, because most of the time you get street circuits, it's either a really short lap like Monaco, where you worked really hard but the laps go quite quickly, but this is kind of a mixture of Baku and Monaco in some respects. It's got every kind of corner, so it really challenges you. But for the time being, Nicholas Matteo able to use the slipstream and DRS to keep ahead of Daniel Alves. I believe if Nicholas Matteo falls out of DRS range of Jim Roy, he'll be in trouble from Alves. So he picks up a 3-second time penalty. Quite a few penalties building up already. Let's have a quick look at Tyrrell Snitzel. It's a nice Sunday drive for him at the moment as he heads for a second title in AOR PS4 F1. We may not see much of him in this race until the end. 9.2 second gap, but of course some of the drivers behind him have pitted. And one of those is in the pit now, and that is Tactician. So it'll be interesting to see where he feeds out. And there's no... Ooh, they're not even ready for him. Well, that was weird. Well, okay, the speed bar is comfortably ahead of him. He'll be catching these guys soon. So speed bar pitting early, perhaps to try and get a massive undercut on Tyrrell Snitzel. I can only assume that's what he's trying to do. So Jim Roy, he's trying to make the alternate strategy work at the moment. And he's now the lead hard runner of those who started on them. So don't rule him out from the podium fight. He could be well in there because the mediums at the end of the race are so much quicker than those who have been on the hards, even for like 8 or 9 laps, if you can get the pace on those. So the big question is now, when will Tyrrell Snitzel pit? Because at the moment, as it stands, Tyrrell Snitzel will be your double champion in AOR PS4 F1. It's been a nice shot of the hairpin. Daniel Alves kind of dropping back for Nicholas Matteo a little bit. And now Barazno, looks like he may have been saving his tyres a bit. He seems to now have got a little bit more pace. He's now on the back of this queue. And look at that, in the background, Speed Barry, 2.2 seconds behind. He's running a much faster pace, but he's going to have a huge train of cars. However, as we saw at Monza, he sliced through that train very quickly. He's going to have to do the same here if he's going to have any chance of winning this race. Tyrrell Snitzel carries on for another lap, so he's going to do 11 laps on those mediums. That's the most of anybody in the first stint. Casper pits. So we're very interested to see what happens when these guys all get all the pit stops done. So Val Asnar having a look at Hugh Golf, Racing Points. Casper in the pit lane. Speedbar should get ahead of him. And if Danny MG will as well, because they were very close on track. Yeah, look at that. Very close between the two. Oh, and a yes. So he made the undercut work. So that's useful information. He didn't get much of an undercut though, but he is ahead of Casper. So Danny MG's put himself into play for that podium battle. But Speedbar is now closing in on the back of this train. He's got 4 cars ahead of him, 5 I should say, and none of them will be pitting any time yet. So Speedbar may give us some entertainment because he's got to get some overtakes done. This is a critical phase for his chances of stopping Schnitzel from taking this championship. Now what will be intriguing is that Schnitzel, he will pit and he will fall into this traffic, at least some of the cars. He won't have a gap to Jim Roy, I know that much, and maybe he could fall right into the middle of like Daniel Alves and Hugh Golf. So we could see a lot of spectacular action because these medium runners, hard runners so to say, they will not be pitting probably until around lap 20. So let's have a look at Schnitzel for a moment. Is he going to pit? Yes! The race leader and your championship leader in the pits, and it's going to be for the hards, of course. I mean, the absolute scenes if you pick the wrong tyre. So Jim Roy heading through. Is Tyrrell Schnitzel going to get out ahead of Jim Roy? If he does, I think that is the race won. I tell you what, he's only around the final corner. Heading for the end of the pit lane. Oh, I tell you what, I think Schnitzel may have done it here. Where is Jim Roy? No, Jim Roy. Oh, here comes that gaggle of cars. Oh, and Schnitzel's going to field out straight in the middle of it. Oh, we're going to have some action here. Oh, this is brilliant. This is what we wanted to see. So Schnitzel, well, he's been alone. He's not anymore. Friends reunited right here. So Schnitzel's going to try and get some overtakes done. He's got car ahead, but look at that. Daniel Alves will keep on board with Schnitzel because we can get a good view of Alves trying to overtake. But he's now... Look at that. He's got 2 cars between himself and Blizzard, but Blizzard has used that undercut to close the gap in Turd's cars. So these overtakes could be critical. Tyrrell Schnitzel then trying to close in, and look at that exit. And look at that, Alves is not going to let him pass, but Schnitzel's going to go round the outside. And he does with, oh, that is a magnificent overtake. No DRS, made that easy. That exit from the previous corner was mighty on those fresh tyres. And now he's got to dispose of Nicholas Mateo. Speedbar now, he might have seen that and his heart may have sunk. He was probably hoping Tyrrell Schnitzel's going to go straight past Nicholas Mateo. This is a performance of performances. This may well turn out to be the best drive of the season for Schnitzel because this is absolutely incredible stuff. He sits on another planet, everybody, in this race at the moment. I mean, he's doing overtakes on parts of the track where you don't normally see them. At least not as easily as that. And now he's going to give chase to Jim Roy. The first move in particular. I mean, Daniel Alves, he tried to defend it, but he had no chance. And side by side, it's Hugh Golf and Daniel Alves through the final corner. You don't normally see side by side action here. And oh, and look at that. Alvaro Asnar spins in the background, and Speedbar barely avoids it. Oh, that's a huge spin. Unfortunate for Alvaro Asnar. That may put him out of the fight for points. And well, something's gone wrong with Daniel Alves. He is really struggling on traction now. He was really threatening for P3 as it stands at the moment, but seems to have got rough on the van. Here comes Speedbar. He's going to try and overtake one of them. Can he get both of them? He's going to go for one, and he gets the move done. Good move from Speedbar. Golf will have to settle for P6 for the time being, and maybe try and hang on the coattails of Speedbar, and then try and get the move done on Alves. And then look, gets in it, and look at that. See, that's the contrast. That's the contrast. The exit that Schnitzel got to attack Daniel Alves was so much better than Speedbar, and that's not to say the exit that Speedbar did was bad, but just in comparison. Oh, little snap of the front end there. Not something you want on the Anderson Bridge. But he's going to be stuck. Alright, so Tyrrell Schnitzel, he didn't panic. He came out in that gaggle of cars. He could easily have, you know, one of the cars could have braked early, could have damaged his wing, but no, he calmly went about his business, and now he's chasing down Jim Roy to retake the lead. Speedbar then, he's not going to have a look here at turn 18. Well, Torre in the chat is asking whether Alvaro Asnar got hit. I didn't see any contact. It looked like he just got on the curbs and spun of his own accord, but he would probably confirm after the race what happened. It was difficult to see from that angle because we were looking at the battle between Hugh Golf and Daniel Alves as they went side by side. Alvaro Asnar was behind them, and that's when he spun. So I think he spun himself, but we'll have to have a look at that again. Tyrrell Schnitzel is already on the back of Jim Roy. Is he going to go for a move here? No, not quite close enough. But this is definitely close enough. Here comes the flying Toro Rosso. Scuderia into the inside, and it's Bari. Speeds off again. Another overtake done. Hugo's trying to follow through, but not able to get the overtake done. Tira Schnitzel is not able to overtake for the time being. Would he go for some kind of spectacular move to please his many fans watching at the moment? Half distance here at Singapore. Hugo's probably getting a little bit frustrated getting stuck behind this Ferrari for the time being. So Jim Roy proving to be a bit of a blocker at the moment. But you get the sense when DRS is available on the next lap, he'll have two opportunities and Schnitzel will likely get it done. Bari closing the gap to Nicholas Mateo. The gap between Nicholas Mateo and Schnitzel is now 4 seconds. That's about the gap it was between Schnitzel and Bari earlier on before they made their one and only pit stops. So Schnitzel has sliced through the traffic very nicely. Lap 15 here. And you get the sense Jim Roy is not going to make this too difficult because he's running his own race and he's in the fight for the podium. Here comes Schnitzel, and he's got it on Motieri, so yes, that's very sensible from Schnitzel. He's going to wait for the better opportunity down the Raffles Boulevard between turns 5 and 7. That's the best overtaking opportunity on the track. Bari is right behind Nicholas Mateo, and he's going to wait for the same chance. Here we go then, exit of turn 5. How much defending is Jim Roy going to do? It's going to be a comfortable overtake, I think. Is there going to be any defending? He's going to try and go for it on the side by side. Jim Roy's going to try and come back at him. The season 16 runner-up. Oh, and very deep into the corner. This is good action here. I think Schnitzel will get the move done on the exit of 7. Or 9, I should say, and yes, he does. And Bari has overtaken, but that was gutsy stuff from Jim Roy. He made it a difficult spot for Schnitzel. Schnitzel nearly went straight into the wall there, but got it. And that out of the exit of turn 8, but he got it slowed down just about. And now he retakes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. And now that is half the job done in effect. He now has to just drive to the end of the race and not make any mistakes. So looking back down the order, Casper is on the back of Danny MG in the battle for P7. Further down is Lee Finney and Tactician. Lee Finney's going to be doing a lot of laps on those tyres by the end of the race. At 11. He's done on that set of fresh hards already. So in terms of your battles, what's it going to be? Yep, Tiro Schnitzel's already. He's pitting. So it's a pit stop on the mediums. That is early. And these tyres are not lasting as long as I expect. There is something, and that is mediums. So we'll see how quick he is, but maybe he felt he was going to lose too much time. But they're going to carry on. So Jim Roy will pit, and he's going to come out, I think, around, well, maybe 12th, possibly 13th. So we'll see how quick he is, but he's going to have to do quite a lot of laps on those. But he should be able to get to the end on them, but it seems to be a mixture of the tyre windows. Of the temperatures, it's just not really working for them. But Jim Roy actually managed to get out ahead of LR2. He's going to have mighty pace. He's got plenty of space. So I think he could be a contender for the fast lap when he gets his first lap in anger on those. Hugo's still unable to get ahead of this McLaren, who he has seemingly stared at for most of the race. As we get a nice shot over the Anderson Bridge from the rear wing, you can see Danny MG and Casper having their raging battle for P6 just behind. So in terms of those who have pitted so far, we've only got 3 more pit stops, and that is Nicholas Mateo, Danny Alves and Hugo Golf. We'll all be in the hunt for a podium place, but Jim Roy's going to have a bit of advantage at first at least, because he would have pitted slightly early, and he's already taken a second out of his teammate Nardi Perez in about half a lap. So we're about to see, as we've spoken about before, the pace of the mediums in the final stint is absolutely incredible compared to the hards. They're over a second a lap faster, maybe 1.5 seconds faster at this stage of the race, at least while they're fresh. And into the pit lane they come, and Hugh Golf is coming in as well. And I think that's the right choice for Racing Point, to try and undercut Daniel Alves, who goes on for another lap. So Casper has done a lot less laps than Danny MG. So he's still in the hunt for a podium. So Danny MG, Casper, they're the 3. So they'll be under threat from the medium runners later on. So Jim Roy's going to leap up 2 places. So Jim Roy's got to chase down. And in terms of the gap leader, so Jim Roy's 25 seconds off the leader. Now in terms of, he's only 15 seconds off Danny MG. So that's the key one to look at in terms of the battle for third. But that will depend on how he can clear the traffic. Jim Perez may not give him too much fight, but the likes of Tactician, Lee Finley, they certainly won't get out of his way. So Danny MG chasing down, or should I say Casper chasing down Danny MG. Looking behind, there seems to be a little action going on between Tactician, Lee Finley and Nardi Perez. Look how quickly Jim Roy is catching these 3. He had 7.5 seconds to Nardi Perez, and he's only been on those tyres a lap. He's now put it down to just over 3 seconds. His pace is absolutely incredible, as we did expect. So these 3, well, they could be quite a blocker. But Jim Roy, on that sort of pace, if he can maintain the tyre life, he will be a serious threat for the podium at the end of the race. But he has got to go all the way to the end of the race on these. Now is Daniel Alves going to pit off in the pit? Yes, he does. So he's going to pit. Now Hugo is behind Nicholas Mateo, so have their battle enabled Alves to actually overcut those 2? That's going to be an interesting question. And now Williams Jim Roy closing in. I want to keep an eye on Nicholas Mateo and the fast lap race 1:37.819. So let's keep an eye on these 3. That's LR2, Nicholas Mateo. They're right behind LR2. Nicholas Mateo's going to go for a move the inside. Look, there's Daniel Alves. The undercut's worked. The undercut has definitely worked, and he's going to go run. Oh, slight contact between the Racing Point and the Ferrari. I want to go back to Jim Roy soon because they're going to be fighting furiously for the positions in the top 10. Tacticians trying to get ahead. We're going to keep an eye on this battle just for a few moments. Oh, going to get squeezed up against the wall slightly, but plenty of room left in the end by LR2. Fresher tyres, better traction, and I think that's a brilliant move from Hugo. Up into P10 he goes. And Nardi Perez has got out of the way of Jim Roy straight away, as you would expect. So the chase is on. It's all coming together now, ladies and gentlemen. The battle for the lead looks all but over, but the battle for third is certainly not over just yet. Here comes Jim Roy. He's going to go for a move down to the inside. He's got much better time. Watch out for the Toro Rosso ahead, and judges that to perfection because he easily could have outbraked himself into that Toro Rosso, which was in the space where the corner was, but no. Excellent move from Jim Roy. Late on the brakes on those fresher tyres, and surely it's only going to be a matter of time before he gets ahead of Lee Finley, and then he's got about 10 seconds to get to Casper and Danny MG. Their battling could actually be the key factor. If Danny MG and Casper were in big amounts of space, then it'd be more difficult for Jim Roy to catch them, but if they're going to battle, that's going to cost them more time. Lee Finley has absolutely no chance of defending that, no chance whatsoever. And like I said, Nardi Perez, Tats and Lee Finley, they could be under threat from Nicholas Mateo and Hugh Golf later on in the race for the points in the middle of the top 10. So Jim Roy from P15 to P5, he is driver of the day material as it stands. So Casper right on the back, 11.3 seconds. Keep an eye on that gap. That is going to be the critical factor here. So Nardi Perez trying to chase down Tactician. Lee Finley getting DRS of Jim Roy helped him, but Lee Finley pitted the earliest, but he's going to be in so much pain later on when those hard tyres start to burn off, because he will have done the longest stint of anybody on those tyres running the race, if indeed he's not forced to pit again. Already a second out of Jim Roy. So Hugo was able to get ahead of Alves, but now he's got to try and get ahead of Nicholas Mateo. These two are chasing down the car's head. They've already taken a second and a half out of Nardi Perez, so the battle for SIP could be absolutely sensational at the end of the race here. As it stands, Cyril Snitzel on lap 20 is going to be your double AOR F1 champion on PS4. He won in season 17, and his title defense has been one of the most incredible displays of dominance that perhaps this tier has ever seen. Now, in terms of the penalty situation, I'm pretty sure Nicholas Mateo and Hugo have at least 3 seconds each, and Alves definitely does as well. All hope may not be lost for the likes of Tactician and Nardi Perez. 10-second gap now between P4 and P5. So another second has been taken out of those two. Alves sets the fast lap of the race at 1:37, and if he can get into the top 10, he will get the bonus points as it stands. 5.7 gap to Nardi Perez. Let's just have a quick look at Casper. Nope, not able to get ahead still. So here comes Tactician. Tactician probably knows he's got to get a move on because there's two faster cars coming at them, Nicholas Matera and Hugolf. But Lee Finley, as ever, doing a decent job of defending the positions. 9.4 second gap between Casper and Jim Roy. I wonder if... You got to wonder though, given the early pit stops we saw earlier, have those mediums, have we seen the best of them already? Oh, and Nardi Perez braking a little bit later than Tactician, but just getting it slowed down. Nicholas Mateo picks up a 3-second time penalty. So the gap's not falling quite as quickly as it was earlier, but it's 9 seconds now. But only 10 laps to go, so Jim Roy's got to be taking at least a second to get onto the back of them. But, we saw early pit stops on those mediums early on, so I'm not sure that they're going to have the best performance at the end of the race. So it may be they may not be under as much threat as we thought. I'm getting Stay Frosty's mic, that's why. I'm not sure why that's happening. I'm in party mode on PS4, so I don't know why that's happening. But I'm not going to switch it now. But if I get a safety car period, I will definitely try and switch that off. So, interestingly, Daniel Alves has caught... Whoa! We caught a ball of him and he went really late, and Hugo picks up another time penalty. Let's go to Casper, because Casper is right on the back. No, again, can't get the move done. And neither can Tactician. Well, Tactician looks a bit closer. I think those tyres are beginning to wear off. Tactician, this has got to be the moment. He's got to go for it. Lee Finley covers the inside, and superbly covers the inside, I have to say. And Hugo trying to go for a move on Nicholas Mateo. Oh, slight contact between the two. Watch out for Alves right behind them. Nicholas Mateo defends superbly. It's a bit of wheel banging, but all's fair in love and war here. Hugo trying to get up to P9, but they are still rapidly catching the cars ahead. So it's going to be almost a Royal Rumble situation for P6 in a few laps' time. The gap between Jim Roy and Casper is now 8.3 seconds. So your race order currently is Tyrrell Snitzel, Speedbar, Danny MG, Casper, Williams, Jim Roy, Lee Finley, Tactician, Nardi Perez, Nick Mateo, and Hugo making up the top 10 with Daniel Alves just outside of our Aznar. That spin's really cost him badly. That spin at the exit of the final corner, that's cost him really any chance of getting big points here today. That's all going to strengthen the Mercedes grip on the Constructors' Championship, which can't be settled today, but the Drivers' Championship, that can be. So what can Hugo do here? A bit of nervous twitch of the back end of that Haas. Fighting with the steering wheel. And that's going to give Daniel Alves got a better exit. Can he go for a move to the inside? I think he's going to go for it. Oh, I thought he was going to think about it. Didn't in the end. Straight to Casper, side by side, round the outside. Oh, he's outbraked himself. He was never going to get that slowed down. But Danny MG actually picks up a 3-second time penalty. So even though Casper didn't make the move done, he did force a mistake from the Renault driver. So at the moment, Casper is on the podium. So Tactician trying to get a move done here. Nope, not for the time being. We'll go straight back to Hugo and Daniel Alves. There's plenty of battles going on here. A lot more battling than I expected. It's a pity there's not a battle for the lead. The gap between the top two now 8.6 seconds. Unlike last week, Speedbar clearly had the race pace advantage over Snitzel, but this week has been a role reversal of that when it really matters. Tyrrell Snitzel looking to win a championship in style here this evening to match the achievement of New Zealand Ryan, who won the Oceania Xbox Top Tier Championship earlier today at this particular round. There are 6 rounds of the championship remaining after tonight. So will Hugo be able to get anywhere near the Haas? The gap is coming down still. Jim Roy still has a chance, especially with the penalties. He may still have a chance of getting onto the podium. Hugo right behind Nicholas Mateo. We're going to focus our attention now on the battle for P3. Casper, although he didn't get moved done last lap, did have a good moment, forcing that mistake from Danny MG. 3-second time penalty for him. As they carry on. for another lap. This huge battle here under the night sky here at Singapore. The Marina Bay circuit has really offered us some great action here today. Casper's getting close. He's getting very close indeed. Go for a late move. No, he will not. Just playing for percentages at the moment, trying to force more mistakes out of the driver ahead. So here comes Tactician. Look at that, Nicholas Matteo. They're all there now. Nicholas Matteo, they've all caught them. So this battle for all the points, all the marbles from 6th downwards is about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. 6 cars fighting over P6. And who knows, although Raznat, he's there in the background, might be able to get involved himself. 6-second gap then between Casper and Jim Roy. And the fast lap race set by LOR2. It looks like it may have pitted again. Oh, and a mistake. Tactician's gone. Whoa, who went off? Nardi Perez gone straight into the wall. Oh, brake failure. What on earth happened there? We just saw a flash of the Red Bull flying off the circuit. Oh, that's a bad end. He was right in there. I don't know if he was hit by Nicholas Matteo or something like that. We just saw him go straight up, but he was going off at full speed. I'm surprised the car's still going. So, huge accident for Jim Nardi Perez. So one Red Bull is in the fight for the podium, the other one is certainly well out of the points. And that is game over. Might have to retire the car from the damage. At the very least have to get his wing fixed. So Lee Finney, Tactician. They've been on hards for a while now. So now they've got the likes of Nicholas Matteo right behind them. Quite a lot of these drivers have penalties though, so it's going to be quite a lot decided on the line, you feel. So Nicholas Matteo, if he can get past these 2 cars, he will be on for a very credible 6th place. And certainly if Hugh Golf and Daniel Evers get trapped behind them after he's overtaken them, that may negate the penalties he has. Lap 25 then of this Singapore Grand Prix in AOR F1. And it's coming to a climax here. There's big gaps between 1st, 2nd and 3rd, but there's plenty of action going on behind them. Casper still trying to get past Danny MG. You may be able to see on some of the longer sections the Jim Roy in the Red Bull approaching. 4.2 gap. Oh, and I think there was a bit of contact there. Oh yeah, there was contact. Nicholas Matteo hit the car in front and he's now lost the position. He's going to lose position to Hugo. Is he going to lose position to Hugo? Oh my goodness. Trying to go side by side. I think he hit the Alfa Romeo in front. May have misjudged the brake. Oh my goodness, side by side through the hairpin. And according to some replays that Alex has seen, Nardi clipped the inside wall on that particular corner, and that's what put him off the track. He's now pitted and he's still going. The car only had a damaged wing in the end, but a lot of damaged pride after that, I'm sure. So Nicholas Matteo, he's got wing damage, which means when he pits, Amir Asnart may be yet getting a point. Nicholas Matteo going to carry on. Yeah, he's going to try and carry on, but the lack of downforce at this particular corner will hurt him badly. Absolutely badly. He's going to try and defend it, but Hugolf's going to try. Give me a decent camera angle, please. There you go. Round the outside goes Hugolf. They're going to still be side by side here. And somehow, if Matteo still in there, this could all end in tears for these two. Side by side into turn 5 they go, and Hugolf gets it done in the end, but they're still going to have DRS. I don't know who went for the activation point first. Watch out for Alves, he's right behind him, but look at this, Nicholas Matteo's going to come back. Well, he has got half his wing off, so that's going to make his car lighter. Round the outside goes Alves, trying to get the move done for P9. I can't believe Nicholas Matteo got that move back in front again. He had insane straight line speed, but he has lost maybe a kilogram of weight perhaps from that broken wing. I don't know how much a Formula 1 wing weighs, to be honest. Here comes Hugo trying to come back at him. Up ahead, Tactician is all over the back of Lee Finney. 3.5 second gap between Jim Roy and Casper now. Hugolf's got to be patient. He doesn't want to smash his wing on that Haas, because that would make it even easier. So Asnart, if he plays his card right, he may think, well, if these guys just destroy each other's races, I may still be on for a big result here, despite that spin we saw, that spectacular spin at turn 1. But the midfield action here has been absolutely balmy, and not for the first time this season. But, you know, the lack of, this is a track you need high downforce. Nicholas Matteo, I don't know how he's keeping the car on the track through some of these slower sections. But it's the final corner, turn 23, where the lack of downforce hurts you the most on this track when you have a damaged wing. So let's have a look then. Just compare the exits. Oh my goodness, he was almost crawling through there. And look at that aggressive defending. What a battle this is. Next time we'll go late on the brakes once again. Better downforce for Hugo. Side by side once again. This is an incredible battle. Got to give Nicholas Matteo credit for trying to hang in there. He's going to get DRS again. So I think he went through the activation point second. He's going to fly straight past the racing point again. Hugo's not going to be able to cover this. He's going to overtake again. And up ahead, Tactician trying to get the move done. Almost free wide through this particular corner. Oh, contact there. Alvaro Aznar's involved in this as well. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. This is absolutely brilliant. Nicholas Matteo maintains the position again. Here comes Alves down the inside, but no, didn't quite have the space. Alves is going to try and get ahead of Hugo around this. Oh no, that was inevitable. You cannot go for a move there. That was never going to work. Hugo spun around. Alvaro Aznar says, thank you very much. And up to P9 he goes. And will he make a better job of getting ahead of Nicholas Matteo? And Hugo, well, Sergio Hugo on the team radio. He is absolutely apoplectic at what just happened there. But I felt that something was going to happen. They were battling extremely hard and fair until then. I feel that will go to the stewards. LR2 up to 11. LR2 may still be on for some points, incredibly, despite pitting twice. So let's have a look at Tactician. Tactician is now trying to get ahead of Leaf, and he's now doing 22 laps. We're in the closing stages now. 2.4 seconds. Jim Roy may still be able to get fourth at least. Here comes Tactician down the inside, and finally, I think the tyre life of Leaf ended. Oh, he's cut the corner. Didn't get the car slowed down. That could prove to be very costly. Nick Matteo trying to defend for Navarro Aznar. The secret will be. And oh, outbrakes himself. Tactician goes straight ahead. Yeah, Alex wishes he raced here now. But, there would have been some points on offer given what's happened. And finally, Tactician, I think, has got the move done. What about Navarro Aznar? Can he? No, he's going to bide his time. He's got about as fresh tyres as Nick Matteo. Nick Matteo, I just can't believe is actually still in this fight. I'm trying to see if it looks like Alves may have some wing damage. Interesting to see what Hugo's reaction to that. Casper and all of that has got ahead of Danny MG, which was somewhat irrelevant because of Danny MG's penalties, but Casper finally getting ahead of Danny MG. We missed that, but there was so much going on in the midfield, we didn't want to miss any of that because that was the best action of the race. Clearly, and I think Danny MG, did pit earlier than Casper, and he's going to be really struggling. I think he may lose at least fourth place. I think on penalties, Jim Roy doesn't have any at the moment, unless I'm very much mistaken. Nicholas Matteo picks up another time penalty. Well, LR2 is 30 seconds behind, so I think he may have to have another retirement for him to. Oh, and Casper picks up a time penalty now. Ah, now that has put Jim Roy back into play. 3 laps to go then here at the Marina Bay circuit. Let's have a look at Alvaro Aznar. Right on the back of Nicholas Matteo. If I was him, I would probably wait to try and overtake. Weaving, trying to distract Phil the mirrors of the Haas driver. Nicholas Matteo, he's going to be struggling every time he goes through these fast corners, picking up warnings, penalties, because he just can't get the car slowed down. So light of downforce. I think Jim Roy may have reached the end of the best performance of those mediums. He's not really closing anymore. In fact, he's dropping back a little bit. So here comes Alvaro Aznar. And look at that. This is what Hugo should have done. Tried to get the move done here. Try and force. Oh, it's trying to. Here comes Nicholas Matteo. Those trying to come back at him once again. And Nicholas Matteo, I have to say, his defending has been robust, but at times, given the damage his car's got, pretty brilliant. Alvaro Aznar may realise that the penalty situation for Nicholas Matteo is pretty drastic, so he's probably on for P8 at the very least. Maybe more if Lee Finley's tyres open. Penultimate lap then, Tyrrell Snitzel. See where he is. Tyrrell Snitzel through the opening corner. He has a huge lead by now. The gap to leaders, look how much time they've lost battling. They're like 45 seconds behind. And of course, as soon as I move, something happens. Alves dives down the inside clearly at turn 14. The gap's kind of solidifying. I think Casper, unless he's got 6 seconds, may have done enough to get that podium position. There will be interviews after this race if Discord's working. We've had problems with Discord all day. We may not get interviews if that's not working, but we will try and get a word with the champion at least. Oh my goodness, how wide do you want to be? He wants to get to Russia as quickly as possible. That's how wide he was going. Nicholas Matteo continues to defend the position hard. I don't want to miss Snitzel crossing the line, because Snitzel is just over a lap away from becoming a double champion in PS4 F1 AOR. Here we go. Here comes Alves. He's been battling in this fierce midfield scrap all race. Here comes Alves. He's got to try and get the elbows out. Not give Nicholas Matteo, but Nicholas Matteo breaks late on the outside and does keep the car within the track limits, to be fair to him. And again, defends the place, but he goes very deep into corner, and that may give Alves a chance on the traction. And here we go then. Nicholas Matteo, he can't cover the inside. He's got to have to. Oh, he's going very deep. Oh, he gets it done. Last lap here at Singapore, and yes, he's done it. Here comes Alves. Alvaro Aznar round the outside again. This has been absolutely insane. And finally, Nicholas Matteo has been demoted to P10. You will say that, I suspect. But now we're going to focus our attention then on Tyrrell Snitzel. He has had a season the likes of which we've never seen in PS4 AOR F1, at least in the recent period of it. He won the championship last season, but he had plenty of competition. It was not, and this season he has had plenty of competition, but not consistently enough. He won at Australia, he won at Bahrain, he won at Baku, he won at Spain, he won at Monaco, he won at Canada, he won at Austria. And he also won at Germany, Hungary and Belgium. And the only other results he's had are 4 second places at China, France, Britain and Italy. Multiple pole positions and fastest laps. 14 races, he has not finished outside the top 2. This is race number 15, and once again he continues that record. He won the season 17 championship. And the Mercedes driver now heads through the final sector of the corner, and no one can say he hasn't deserved this championship. With a staggering 6 races remaining, Tyrrell Snitzel will head through the final corner and across the line to win the Singapore Grand Prix and the AOR F1 Championship. He is a double champion in AOR PS4 F1. What an absolutely incredible achievement from a driver who looks destined for big things, perhaps, in the esports in the future. Speed Barry finished second. He gave the best fight he could. We'll just see what the podium situation is going to be. Danny MG crossed the line 4th. Will Jim Roy pick up 4th? Yes, he picks up 4th, but not another opponent, but still 15th to 4th, very credible. But we're going to ride on board with the champion to give him his moment. An absolutely incredible achievement. I've never, in my time commentating, I've commentated multiple seasons across various different leagues, but I've never seen a championship dominated in the way that this man has. But this drive in particular will rank as one of his best, and indeed that qualifying lap. Really want to speak to him about that qualifying lap, because that surely for me was the best lap he's done all season qualifying. But his maturity and decision making when he came out in all that huge group of traffic was spot on. Very rarely has he made mistakes this season. As the crowd rises to applaud it, and fittingly Speed Barry had a bit more fuel in him and he's caught up to him, and I think that's very fitting in a way, because these are the two drivers who have really defined the championship in many ways this season. The Tyrrell Snitzel getting the congratulations from Toto, James and the rest of the Mercedes team. And onto the podium here under the night sky. It's over. The Drivers' Championship is over. In many ways it has been for some time, but until it's mathematically possible. But he got the job done. He's done it in style. Tyrrell Snitzel, your race winner here today, and your double champion, season 17 and 18 champion. And if he sticks around in PS4 next season, who on earth is going to be able to stop him? But that is the big question. A triple championship could be on course, but he may be on for bigger things than this league after what we've seen. So here is your provisional result then for the AOR Singapore Grand Prix of Season 18. Tiras Nissel taking the victory by 13 seconds. Speedbari, another credible performance. Another podium for him in second. Casper with another podium. That is his 5th podium of the season. Jim Roy with a very excellent Driver of the Day candidate performance, 15th to 4th, some great overtakes. Danny MG in a solid 5th, 9 seconds penalty, so really limiting what he could do. Tactician in 6th, Lee Finley in 7th, good points for him. Avar Asnar picking up points on his return, good result for Williams. Dan Alves in P9, Nicholas Mateo, we gave us plenty of entertainment, didn't we? All that defending without a wing. P10, LR2 in P11, Jim Nardi Perez in 12th, his race ended with a mistake. Hugo, well, he retired along with Stave Frosty, and Blizzard, who picked up P2 in qualifying, but yeah, not the right strategy and paid the ultimate price for that. So we're going to hear from the champion very shortly. So let's get the post-race show underway. So let us know in the comments what you thought of that race. I thought it was a really entertaining race, despite the, I guess you could say, non-event of a battle for the lead, but the midfield action was chaotic at its best. There were a few questionable moments of defence, you would have to say. But we're just going to get them into the chat if we can. Discord, as we say, has been a bit rubbish today, so if we can't get an interview with them, we will, of course, try to get a word with them next week. Maybe before the race, that would be a good idea. If I can get Discord to load, that would be nice. Now let's see if I actually got... Okay, let's see. Yep. Okay, so, yep, we're just waiting for them to join the chat. So I'm just going to send the invite out of the interview so you get a nice view of the track. So it looks like Speedbar has joined us already, but we'll speak to him shortly. But Tiras Nitsa will be the driver we want to really speak to. Wow, a lot to look back on in that race. I mean, obviously, qualifying was incredible from what we saw, and then the race, well, a lot of great midfield action. But yes, we have indeed been enjoyed by the top two, and Casper is on his way. So we're going to start these interviews then, and none other than the brand new double champion now, F1, Tiras Nitzel. You had a lot of pressure today after Italy last week, where Speedbari, I think you could say, was a better performer today, but today you absolutely blitzed the competition. Congratulations on winning your 2nd title with 6 rounds to spare. I mean, you must be feeling absolutely delighted right now.
First of all, more than anything, I feel exhausted and just finished right now. But as you said, I'm over the moon right now with how the season has gone, and it's just been an unbelievable run that I myself could not have imagined in my wildest dreams before the season started. So yeah, it's just a lot to process at the moment. And at this point also, well, you'd have to excuse me using a bit of a bad word here, but you know how I'm usually known for a bit ticking around a bit on Twitter, but at this point, I'd really sincerely like to thank everyone involved in the AOR, thank everyone who's involved in making all of this possible week in, week out. It's just, people don't realize what sort of effort this must take, or this sort of running this sort of league takes. And it's just, at this point, I'd like to really sincerely thank everyone involved and who makes all of this action possible for us to go racing week in, week out, and hopefully deliver a good show week in, week out for everyone watching as well. So yeah.
Well, I echo the sentiment, and I'm sure everyone else in the league very appreciative of the admins and, you know, the commentary team, particularly Andy and the likes who have joined me. But of course, it's not the end of the season, so we're not going to go too much into the thank yous just yet. But I do want to talk about one thing, because I've seen plenty of great lap performances from you this season, but in my view, that was, for me at least, the best qualifying lap you've done this season. So just take us through it, because in terms of the times that are estimated, you did it around 6/10 faster. I mean, it was an unbelievable lap.
Well, I'd have to stop your praising there for just a little bit. I'm a bit miffed actually that I wasn't able to get near my personal best, since my first lap sadly I got blocked by, I think it was a Williams, so I had to abort that, and the conditions were not that optimal to start the second lap, with tires being a bit over the optimal temperature and also ERS being a bit low. So I guess considering the circumstances, having to deliver it under not ideal conditions has to be credited, or is what's to credit here. But time-wise, it wasn't actually that far. It was actually pretty far away from, I guess, everyone was doing as their PBs. But still, Singapore is just like Monaco. You're never going to hit your PB in the actual qualifying, since it's so many risks involved in pushing the car on that one lap to its absolute limit. So yeah, I'm of course happy with how it went in the end, but it's not quite the optimal. It's not quite the optimal.
So what you're saying is you could have gone faster.
Well, theoretically, yeah, but still, as I said, Singapore is just like Monaco. It's so hard to get it right on that one lap, and when conditions are not ideal, having to abort the first lap and everything, I guess, considering the circumstances, it was a good lap, but could have been a bit faster.
Well, we'll speak to you again shortly for some further reaction to your second championship in this tier. But now we're going to head on to the man who finished P2. That is Speed Bari, who picks up another very credible result following his victory at Italy last week, which I do believe is his 8th podium of the season overall. So Speed Bari, unfortunately you didn't have, I mean, it was always unlikely given the mathematics involved, having to outscore Tyrrell Schnitzel, given the fact he's finished in the top 2 every race this season at least. But you gave the best shot you could, and it's still, a really strong result for you today.
Yeah, first of all, congrats to the Dom, because he did an amazing job. But yeah, he just shows when the track has evolved, he is so fast, like the Monaco, Singapore, and really big congrats to him. He just dominated this season. But yeah, I don't know what's just happened to me when I just but I don't want to really talk about that, because it's not really I'm not here to talk about this. But when the track has evolved, I'm always lost like 4/3/10 per lap, due to, I think, I don't know, maybe frame rate. But yeah, he has a dominant pace. He just deserved it. But I just really bottled my quality, to be honest, because my PB was 33.9. But as the Dom just said, you can't do your PB when the track is like too many walls and you should made too many risks. But yeah, I'm just really because when I was on lap 7 or 6, I think, I just thinking because I saw the map, and then when I just have a 2 decision to go late on the pit or go soon on the pit. So I make the decision to soon on the pit and then just make a move. Just good undercut, but yeah, my tires, I think Dom just went to the pit on lap 11 or 12, I don't know. But his pace was amazing, and then my tires just suddenly go off after lap 17. I just really managed my tires, and then I'm still happy with the P2. It's quite good, and yeah, I'm so happy.
Well, excellent words from there, Speed Bari, but it's still another podium of what has been a really strong campaign for you so far this season. But now we're going to speak to the driver who has
sorry, I just want to congrats to Casper as well, because I saw he just a little bit blocked, but yeah, I just want to congrats to him as well.
Well, no, I'm sure Dom and Casper will appreciate words. But yes, speaking of Casper, he has ghosted into the podium interview box. Another podium, his 5th of the season. He has some good performances this season. Casper, he had a great battle with Danny MG for pretty much the entire race. I'm not sure if you were aware of his podiums, which made it relatively comfortable once you overtook him, despite the penalties you had. But it hasn't been a podium for you since Germany, so you'll be pretty pleased to get back onto the top 3.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great race. Quali was pretty good. Didn't really mess up the lap, but it could have been better. But it's Singapore and it's really hard to hook up a lap. Then I started before. I knew it was crucial to get past Blizzard ASAP because he started on the softs, and the softs are not really a good tyre here. So yeah, I got held slightly and Barry was just pulling away. The first stints, I decided to extend my first stint as long as possible to have the freshest tyres towards the end. Because Danny pitted like lap 8, I think I pitted lap 11. So I had 3 laps fresher tyres than him for the rest of the race. But unfortunately I was stuck behind him for most of the race. But it was just really hard to overtake because of the dirty air. And you know, I was really close to him at pretty much every corner except the most crucial corner. I believe it's turn 4. That leads onto the straight. So yeah, it was just pretty frustrating at the same time, but a really nice battle with Danny, as always. And yeah, then after that, once I finally overtook him, I managed to pull away. And I was catching Barry as well, I think, so pace was there. And yeah, congrats to Barry for second and to Dominic, especially for winning the championship and also for just winning in Singapore.
Fantastic. Well, we're now going to speak to Dom again. Dom, if you can just describe what your sort of thoughts. We've now got 6 races to go. You can relax. You're now a double champion. There's no pressure. So what's your sort of aim for the final 6 races of the season? I mean, if you wanted to, you could take some well-earned time off, an early Christmas break, but I get the sense you'll want to continue this and maybe go through the entire season without finishing outside the top 2, which would be unprecedented for a league like this.
Well, as you said, it sounds pretty, would sound good, but no, it's what we like. If my motivation is still at such a high that I'm not planning to stop anytime soon, or at least for this season. So I'm also, that's kind of my mindset. The moment I wouldn't want to push for wins and just racing anymore, it's time to stop completely. Which at the moment, luckily, is not the case. It's just too much of a joy to be racing with the absolute top guys on PS4 and being as competitive as I am as a person. It's just, for the moment, I don't think I could just let the season go like that. But yeah, the mindset into the following races will be, of course, a tad more relaxed, I would guess, because that little bit of pressure of having to seal the championship is gone now. But still, it will be. Yeah, I'll still push as hard as I can, obviously, but maybe the practices will be a bit more reduced than they were up until this point. But still, I'm of course going to do the rest of the season as well as I can, and let's see how it goes, I guess. And it would be nice, of course, to keep up that top 2 streak for the rest of the season, but can't guarantee it.
Well, I'm sure you will try your best. Well, speaking of the next 6 races, that's all we have. We have only 1 race left of the 2019 and indeed the decade in AOR, and I'm sure a lot of people will be sharing on Twitter over the next few days their memories of various races they've done in various leagues as we get to the end of the year. But in terms of what we have left on the calendar, we have the Russian Grand Prix next week, and then after that we have a 5 race sprint at some of the more favoured tracks, I should say, Japan, Mexico, USA, Brazil, before ending the season in Abu Dhabi in the first weekend of February. But that is it for our broadcast tonight. It's been a long race, but I think you'll agree, a very enjoyable one indeed. So a big congratulations to Casper and Speedway for their podium positions, and of course Dominic, aka TR Snitzel, for winning the Singapore Grand Prix today and becoming a 2-time AOR F1 champion. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.